Right now, we only have one trailer of Splatoon 3 that includes hints towards the main story mode. 2 if you count the giant Godzilla that we see in the trailer for Salmon Run. That's obviously not a ton of information to go off of, especially with only 2 releases within the 7 years of the franchise existing. In the grand scheme of things, plot matters a lot less as there's a large portion of the game that emphasizes on the multiplayer scene. But with the additive storyline of Splatoon 2's DLC Octo Expansion, it's not completely hopeless for those who enjoy the game's lore. Splatoon 2, following the exact same plotline as the first game, causes difficulties in making any predictions about the quality of the third game. I personally believe that the second storyline was not originally intended to be lackluster and a direct plot ripoff of the original game. It's just unfortunately what we ended up with. Especially since the game's DLC was highly praised, receiving an overall higher approval from the fanbase and from critics compared to the base game. While the lore-based portion of Splatoon hasn't always been the most interesting to play, I fully believe that this is set to change. There are some issues that Splatoon's repetitive storyline has brought upon itself that have actually mended quite a bit through the DLC Octo Expansion. The game itself does not confirm that the events of Octo Expansion run directly alongside the events of Splatoon 2's Octo Valley storyline, but we can only assume that this is true due to the connections in the game. While this has been patched up a little bit, it still leaves a severed storyline that splits into 2 pieces. The timeline of events throughout the Splatoon series is hard to keep track of, but we can almost assume that Octo Expansion and the events of Splatoon 2's original storyline are happening at the exact same time. This is why both Captain Cuttlefish and Agent 3 are missing during the events of the second Zapfish napping. Otherwise, we could for sure expect Agent 3 being around to beat up the Octarian King for the second time. Agent 3 is shown as the new captain after Cuttlefish retires, so it does logically make sense that the new agent is involved with the Squid Sisters and with Agent 3. There is a question I have although. Where are Agent 4 and Agent 8? Obviously these characters could be disposable because we have no idea what's going to happen in the Splatoon series, or especially in Splatoon 3, but still, these are important characters that people have attached onto, and it's a little bit concerning that we haven't seen them yet in any of the trailers. Agents 3 and 8 have not met Agent 4 because of this, yet Agent 3 is present in the upcoming third game, likely to correlate with the theme of 3, of course, alongside the new Tri-Striker. It still begs the question though, when will Agent 4 and Agent 8 show back up? Now that we know that there's a possibility of DLC being a thing, we can always theorize that they might be present in Splatoon 3's possible DLC, although there isn't any evidence that there will be a DLC or that they will be present there, unfortunately. I personally doubt that Off the Hook itself has also just vaporized, so that leads me to think that eventually all of the characters that have been involved in the main plotline will be able to join together. If that does not happen, it could leave us with a permanently severed plotline where we do not progress through time as quickly as hoped, only seeing the events that happen parallel to each other one at a time. This could of course elongate the plotline and continue on towards new releases of the game, but it can also become very long-winded and cause retcons, or just have the audience lose interest in general towards any storytelling that the franchise has to offer. In the end, there is some hope for the upcoming Splatoon 3's lore system, and I am sure that I am not the only one who is very hopeful with the giant Godzilla that has been hinted at, as well as the tied-in Salmon Run themes. Despite my criticisms, I believe that Nintendo's Splatoon team can turn around the quality of the story mode from mediocre to exciting. I know that the plot of the games isn't as valuable to everyone as it is to myself and to others, as really the game lacks a ton in the plot department, but I still think it's interesting and enjoyable seeing character interactions from our main cast. We can only hope that we will continue to get more plot and more games in the future to appreciate. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below, or if you have any theories about Splatoon's storyline predictability. If this video was interesting to you, please consider hitting the bell icon to see when I upload. That's all for now. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.